my floor should be like have lights on it.
Oh yeah?
You know, a little. Your floor should have lights on it.
It does. Are we ready to go? We're ready to go.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
You got one life, for crying out loud. You might as well just give it all you got.
The Deej, Dan Jordan.
Your daily dose of reality. Your daily dose of the Deej.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need my daily dose of the Deej.
I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader.
The Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Listen, don't worry how to sell, baby. Worry about why people buy. And it's fun.
You don't need a 5-hour energy. All you need is the Sales Energizer.
Just when I think it's not going to be as fun as the one before, each one gets successfully better. Success. What's the word I'm looking for? What's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?
And now, please welcome the Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Boom! That's exactly it.
Do that. Let's do that. Boom! That's exactly it. There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
You can see both myself and the guest.
Oh, yeah. For years, Dan, you've always just been making fun of me, and you thought that I couldn't see you backstage, but yes, I can see you.
So do you see me like mouthing the song? Boom.
Oh yeah, that's a.
I'm always like this.
I should do a video of that for both of your fans. We should use that as a reel, to show you actually are doing that. I lead, not follow. I seek, not destroy, or whatever. You're actually doing that. You're pumping yourself up, and you're just going. I can see you just going. Before it even happens. We should do the backstage.
I have a couple of coaching clients that I'll actually go to on a regular basis, and we do their morning meetings, and that chant has become, it's printed out, it's on the wall, and that's how we end the meeting. We start it with going over your values, and then we end it with the chant. And I don't even have to tell people like I have to do all my guests here. I don't have to tell people to put their arms in the air. When you get to the end, I lead, not follow, believe, not die, create, not destroy, not seek, not destroy.
I was thinking Metallica, seek and destroy.
Yeah,
that's right. Listen,
when you get to the end, I stand up, I take charge, I win. They just put their arms in the air just like that.
Well, I think now when you go, and this is not hyperbole. This is not when you go to a public place and people recognize you, they're doing this. They they may not even know your name. They just know the arms. They're like, oh, they're coming up and raising their arms. Yeah.
Yeah. It's surprising, but I'm glad. It's hard not to be in a good mood. It's hard not to be energized when your arms in the air. You're just, it's a way to get started. And I this about me that I do it myself in the mirror, but I hesitate to use the word hyperbole again because you just used it. It's not hyperbolic of me to say that.
I feel like if there's anything we've improved over the 4 years that we've done this show, we've improved our vocabulary exponentially.
Yes. Ooh, look at that! Anytime you can throw in what was the word last week? Asynchronistic.
Yeah, asynchronous.
Yeah, that was the
when you have somebody that's based in the University of Georgia and is steeped in the amount of education that our guest has, Dan, we have to at least play like we're smart, right?
It's hard not you're right. It's hard not to I would, with my next comment, I would literally insult too many people. So I'm just going to hold it back.
Okay.
Yeah, right. It was just a joke, but I do go too far. But here's what's been happening lately because of all the people have just accepted doing business online now. It's just there. It's not uncommon for me to have my first meeting at 6 a.m. or 5:30 to 6. From 5:30 to 6:30, I'm generally on the phone with people from the other parts of the world, all over the place. It's just, it's easy to do. It's easy for them because it's 4 o'clock their time, so easy to do it. And plus, I'm awake, so what the heck, you might as well do it.
Sure.
But international business is just just the way of the world now. It's like you're dealing with anybody. And I just recently I've come to the understanding, because I'm dealing with a couple of companies that have their European companies that want to penetrate in the market in the US. And there is a difference in the way Americans buy versus the way Europeans buy. So someone who's real successful, they need to find out different things. And with all this, as this all was happening, in my life dealing with these companies, I went to Starbucks, an international coffee shop that you may know and love. And I re-met a friend that I met a long time ago. And I think the way he came up to me is he said, "Hey, Dan, it's weird because I do these things so often. Everybody, it's like I've talked to you every day, so we're friends, even though I may have not seen you in 3 years." Comes up to me, arms in the air, and says, "Hey, what's going on?" And so, as it turned out, he's an international guy, and I thought, what better opportunity than to get an expert in the international field who's also one who's able to generate the type of energy that would be a perfect guest on the Dan Jordan Live Show. I thought I'd bring him on. So without any further ado, please help me welcome my new and old friend, Laurent Kahl.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Dan.
All right.
Appreciate
Good
it.
morning.
And as Dan would say, always ask for the order. Never forget that.
Yes, that's right. Always ask. But yeah, and that's how we got on. He asked. He said, "Hey, let's do something on the show," which is cool. You approached me. That's the whole thing. If you were looking, so Laurent, why don't you explain? Because when we got together, he says, "How's business?" And I'm thinking, okay, how can I help you get new clients? Who was your client? And very few people know exactly who their perfect prospect is. Laurent does. And so why don't you tell us what you do?
Well, I've been now with the University of Georgia as international business consultant for the past year and a half. And we help small, mid-sized Georgia companies with their import-export problems, challenges, opportunities, revenues, et cetera. And like you said, our sweet spot, we have our criteria for the perfect, or not the perfect, but the better clients that we work with are small, mid-sized businesses that have 3 to say 200 employees, revenues from half a million to $200 or $300 million. This is our sweet spot, and these are the type of companies we look for that have some U.S. business sales history, 3 to 5 years, and these other things. So yeah, Dan, I mean those are the kind of things, the kind of companies.
So it's companies who are looking for additional income sources, making use of the European market or the international market. Are there any particular countries that people are more likely to do better in?
Well, it depends on the product and service, and what we normally do is do an analysis of the company and their products and services, and then we look at the current trade export stats or import stats, and see what countries are in the top 5 or 10, and then we work with that and start with them, provide them maybe the top 3, and say these are the top 3 countries that you should look into first before you do the others, right? There's 195 countries in this world. And how do you choose, right? So you've got to do some analysis. You got to do some research to use your time wisely and your resources.
Well, so this is cool. So, Chris Stone, you're going to be blown away by this next question. So, and how much does, so how much does this cost to get this consulting from you?
Zero.
Okay, I am blown away.
We're cost,
it doesn't get any
free.
cheaper than that.
No, we're cost free because
How?
we are paid by, we're funded and paid by, I'm a staff of the University of Georgia as a staff member and also a consultant advisor, but we are paid by the tax dollars come from the for the Small Business Administration and UGA, and then they pay us to consult cost-free to Georgia SMEs. I mean, so it's a great service. We have all of our business consultants are highly educated, highly skilled, highly experienced, and MBAs and everything else, and it's all cost free. So we can provide all this plethora of skills and experience, et cetera, to companies that are here in Georgia.
Yeah, so it's the best kept secret
Yeah.
in Georgia. Now, you concentrate on international business, but there are. Well, tell us what else is there at the SBDC.
We also have a domestic side, which there's 55 consultants that cover the state, and they'll do they also do advice and consulting, business consulting and advice to these companies. Anything from business plan discussions, financing, capital sources, human resources, QuickBooks, accounting type of programs, social media marketing and strategy, franchising, selling online, as Dan had mentioned, all these different things. And on the international side, we provide other services such as how to identify foreign markets, understanding market entry strategies, selecting sales and distribution partners, export costing and pricing, trade finance. There's different business functions that we cover to help. There's a lot to learn and a lot to know as you go internationally. But nationally, education and the consulting advice is very important.
And it's free. And it's just crazy. I've recommended as a business broker years ago, every time somebody's looking to sell or get started with a business, I said, just go there. And you get somebody and you'll talk to them once a month. They do all your finances. It's unbelievable. It's what you would pay someone like me tens of thousands of dollars a month just to get it done. Yeah. And it's free. And we keep it secret for a long time. Can I say how many companies do you work with right now?
Well, I have 45 clients, active clients in the import-export side, but our domestic consultants have to reach, I think they're like 180 to 100 per year. And these can be startups or to established businesses. So, we try to reach between 45 to 60 a year, to maintain the quality and the service to our clients.
Yeah. So do you have any success stories?
Yeah. I've got, naturally, I can't name companies, but I have.
Why not? Why can't you name companies? Why can't somebody be? I never understood that. Like, companies, they go out they do shows like this to show look how successful I am. Oh my gosh, I've done this and this and this. And then why would they be embarrassed about?
Well, we
don't ask you to give me numbers.
No, I mean, the thing is, we have these consulting forms, confidential forms that we have with our clients, and naturally we can only share information between us and our partners regarding the client and their case. So, but we can't provide names or anything like that. But I can give you a couple of success stories. One is with I'm working with a very specialty carpet manufacturer up in Northwest Georgia. And we managed to find a partner for him in Japan. And, the Japanese are very, very, this is very specialty type carpets, and it's Americana, very specialty type of niche. But we're working on their first container orders here this year. Another one is a chemical manufacturer also in the Northwest Georgia, which we opened up. They've already bought 2 or 3 containers, a buyer in China. And China is very difficult to do business with, because there's a lot of restrictions there, and the Chinese are not an easy place. I mean, it's easy for us to import from China, but it's very hard for us to sell in China.
Yes. Well,
so on the website here, as far as success stories are concerned.
Yes. Well, those are mostly some domestic, and there are some international as well. Yes, you're correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, to give you some ideas. Good point.
Yeah. So at what point would somebody? It would be a good idea to reach out to you?
Well, naturally, if they're just starting to export, or if they're already, if they're starting to export, to learn the process. So, if they have their first transaction or their first sale and they need to do a contract with the distributor or go through the sales process, the pricing and the quoting and then, the after sales service and all that kind of stuff, we can help them with that. If they're already an existing exporter and they want to learn to grow, into new markets or other areas that they want to continue growing their revenues, we can also help them with that as well. So we do both the new ones and also the active ones as well. And same thing on the import side as well. We do that.
How do you work with somebody? Is it like a monthly meeting and conversation? Is it emails? Is it regular, or is it just spotty? Or how does it generally work? Let's say I make balloons,
right,
and I'm trying to sell balloons to Bulgaria.
Okay.
Nice.
Very nice.
Just
commodity,
because
but
That's a need, right? Bulgarians love balloons. They really do.
Yeah, specialty
Who
Bulgarian
doesn't love
balloon.
balloons?
Well, the first thing we would do is have a kind of introductory and analysis, what would it say, a consultative type of an hour, 2 hours to learn about your products, your expectations, some of the modifications we have to do, how you want to sell it, whether it's going to be online or you want to do it direct with a partner over in Bulgaria, a distributor, or your sales channel in Bulgaria. And then we have, recurring either face-to-face, or we do online, MS Teams, Zoom, whatever, chats every, maybe 2 or 3 times a month, a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours a month, and continue that depending on the, on the project. If there's research involved, I may do, a couple of 2 or 3 hours of research to find out what are the current stats of U.S. balloon sales in Bulgaria or in Eastern Europe. We can do that. I mean, you can with
this is amazing. So 2-3 hours, and they just to affirm this, how much does that cost?
It's cost free because, as I mentioned, it's.
I mean, that's
the key.
I mean, let's say you're just, let's say just paying $200 an hour. So you could easily put 10 hours a month into a company.
Yeah, 5-10 hours. And all this data is cost free, but it does cost us because we have paid subscriptions. Right. And these are expensive. I mean, some of these are, for financial due diligence, the Hoovers and some of these databases are very, very expensive to have. And we have some with the federal government for export stats. We also have some import databases as well.
Wait a second.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
We're talking about pricing being free, but I am doing a little research myself here on the site. There's training. And some webinars, but some of these aren't necessarily free.
Yeah, the trainings that we have are nominal fees which you have to pay, and we also do some very more extensive 4-day programs or four times a quarter type of program where you're paying for more in-depth, 8-hour day trainings, which are more involved. But on some of the trainings, yes. But the individual trainings we do in-house with some of the companies, those are free, and also the one-on-one we do on the online as well. Right. But these kind of things are, things that it's a nominal fee, but there's a lot of business functions that we cover, and for the small businesses to learn about the certain weaknesses they may have.
And who do you have that are teaching some of these courses and these webinars?
So normally there are consultants that are subject matters on that particular subject.
Sure.
So there might be somebody in QuickBooks that have done QuickBooks most of their life, or their accounting, used to work for an accounting firm, or there might be someone in pricing that's done a lot of pricing analysis and strategies and things of that nature in the past in other companies. So we have these kind of folks that are subject matters that teach this.
How come you don't have the Deej doing it?
Well,
you got to be an expert at something, Dan.
Yeah, that's right.
We do have guest speakers come in, for some of these trainings.
I've
spoken. We're going to have to keep you in mind.
That's right. So
maybe for getting energized in your business. How about
you
that?
sparked
for the order.
something.
For the order.
Yeah. You sparked something. I mean, when you said you pay for those databases and those list services.
Right.
So that means if let's say I'm working with you, or on the domestic side, Or well, let's say I'm working on the international side, and I say, man, I need a list of companies that can do this or that. You can get that for me
Absolutely. Like if you
with names and
Yep.
and email addresses and
Yes.
what are you? I mean, that's like a
can-
listserv. That's a whole business.
Dan, if you wanted like all the lumber facilities in Georgia, I can do that specifically for you. And naturally, some of these databases are paid and some aren't. Some are free. But yeah,
Right.
we can do specific. I've got an importer of lenses from Italy, glasses, and he wanted a list of all the the glass stores or framing stores that we have here in retail stores that we have in Georgia. I was able to provide them the address, the email, just some of the particulars, how many employees. We can get pretty refined if you wanted.
Can you get like a director of sales director for that, and their email and their number?
Yeah, we can get kind of specific on that, but sometimes some of the info is not up to date, but you'll have to call the company and kind of get maybe updated. But
oh yeah, no, listen,
but it's pretty involved and pretty extensive as far as a breakdown of what we can do. Correct.
But you do have Hoovers, so you have.
Yeah, we have some of those, and we also have there's some state databases that we use, in addition to some Euromonitor, which are international type of databases for import and export, and we also have what we call Vertical IQ, which can do industry reports. So if you're strictly in the steel industry and you wanted an updated report on what your counterparts are doing, what the competitive market situation is for that industry, we can do that as well and provide that free of cost. These kind of things cost hundreds of dollars. I mean, these industry reports.
So, and you're dealing with 45. How many people are you personally able to handle?
Well, it all depends. Some have a lot more projects or more time involvement, right?
So wait, well, let me change the question then.
Yeah.
You're an employee of Georgia. So how do they know you're successful or not? Like, what says success for your position?
Good point. We have key performance indicators, KPIs, right? As we know in the industry, and a few of them. Maybe they might go look at our year's performance. They'll look at how many jobs we created in that company due to our programs or to our input that we gave them, advice, or partners that we found them. Whatever they needed to help grow that revenue, right? Or job base. The revenues is the other. Naturally, how much did they grow with getting new export sales orders or import sales orders, things of that nature. The other thing would be what kind of impact on the company did they grow with the program, some aspect in their business function or new did they get a new product idea, whatever. And then you come in to help them grow their internal sales and their domestic sales or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's what they need to do. You're a good lead source for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly what because you're dealing with those companies. So if somebody's looking to let's say I have a store and how about if I'm looking to import, like I'm looking to have more UK products in my store.
Right.
I sell. There used to be a place called the Queen's Pantry near my house. Do you remember that place?
Yeah, that's still there in East Cobb.
Is it still there?
Yeah. So if they say, hey, Lauren, I'd like to add some marmalade, British marmalade.
Spotted Dick. I got Spotted Dick from them. It's terrible, but I just liked it. Have you ever had Spotted Dick?
I don't think you ever should say that again.
It's just fun to say. Also,
I don't know. Maybe for you. But,
it's cake in a can, and you boil it, and then you eat it, and it's terrible. But it's called Spotted Dick.
Okay. No, I don't know about that, but but if they want,
I don't know too much about that. Yeah, so tell me about the Queen's Pantry.
No, but say they want, they wanted some added lines and crackers or marmalade or whatever, anything that's that the British do well, right?
Yes.
I mean, in foodstuffs, there's some good things, but not so much, right? I mean, more the Italian and French can make better foods, or who knows? I mean, it depends on your taste, but naturally, we all have a preference. But yeah, we can help them find new suppliers in England in that particular type of whatever product line they're interested in.
Good, and make connections. So anybody that's thinking about doing anything international, step one is to hook up with Laurent. How to?
Yep.
And, so what's with your name anyway? You're the only Laurent. Laurent. Is it French?
No.
What is?
Well, my mom's Italian from Rome, Italy. She's first generation. My dad's from Chicago, so and I was born in South America. I'm a global street dog, right?
Wow.
Mom gave me a French name. I always asked her, why did you give me a French name? Man, why couldn't you give me Frank or Luigi or some?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Or Spotted Dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spotted Dick. I'm telling you.
I don't know. It is what it is, right, Dan?
Yeah. So you were born in South America?
Would you have liked to have like Joshua or some Israeli, some Jewish?
Some Jewish name? Yeah, like Goldberg, like that. I should have been.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, I mean.
But no, I actually Daniel is from the Bible.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So there we go.
Yeah. Well, but you have Dan. I thought that was your.
Yeah, je m'appelle Daniel Jourdan.
The Lion's Den.
Yeah.
Very good accent there. Très bon. Vous parlez bien.
Well, I am the son of two immigrants. My dad from France and my mom from Brooklyn.
Oh,
so it's another country.
Yeah.
Stick with me.
One of these just for us, Laurent.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So, on a somber note, that whole Israeli thing, not to touch too much on it, but I think we should recognize anything. So, everybody has stories and families and things going over there. But I got a text the other day from he's kind of a cousin, but I call him a nephew. He's just a good guy. But boy, it's unspeakable what's happening. And if you're at all of the mind to say a prayer to anybody, you ought to just put it to the whole region. It's just brutal up there. And that is an international thing. Things like that happen when you're in business. What happens to people that export and import in the Middle East area? Are there specific challenges that you have to deal with?
Well, sure.
Besides the obvious things?
Absolutely. Just, naturally, there's a lot more challenges when you do international because you've got more parties involved when you're shipping a product from A to B, from Atlanta to Jeddah or in Saudi Arabia or Tel Aviv in Israel. And, naturally, there's a lot of things you have to learn. Also, you want to make an effort to learn. That's, their culture, their business norms, how do they do their transactions, learn a little bit about their country and their data and things of that nature. All these things are important. In addition to knowing you're doing your sales knowledge as well, sales techniques, whether it's spin selling or consultative selling, and learning about all these different types of techniques and your skill set, right? How to negotiate, how to communicate, how to analyze, how to how to do the customer relationship with your partner and or supplier overseas. Those kind of things are very important, right?
Yeah. Well, it seems like. Well, let me. Why would somebody want to do with all those challenges, all those extra, blocks that are in the way of you actually just making a transaction? Does the benefit outweigh the costs in terms of?
Yeah, I mean,
effort.
Sure. In the long run, there's a lot of things. 90% of the consumers outside, 90% of the consumers are outside the United States. There are a lot of wealthy countries, wealthier than the U.S., outside the United States. Also, when there's a recession in the U.S., if you're selling overseas, that'll help your sales elevate your sales and offset the U.S. sales, right? So you can kind of play that game, and it also diversifies your customer base. Not only you have domestic customers, but now you have international customers, and you can learn and bring in new ideas and new product lines, selling or importing from overseas. So there's a lot of long term. Yes, it takes time. You have to have patience. You got to have the resources, but you can make money at it. You can make even sometimes higher margins that you would here in the U.S. if your product was unique or one of a kind, or has tremendous advantages that overseas competitors don't have. So there's a lot of things that you can look at, whether it's product or service, right?
So
is there still go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, since you're focused on international, do you, as a part of your position, do a lot of traveling so that you can be boots on the ground in some of these areas? Or
well, no, I did in my previous jobs. I was traveling
Yeah.
70-80% of my time in 5 regions, and I think I did about 55 plus countries. But it was a great experience. But now today we have what we call our U.S. Export Assistance Center partners. For example, the state of Georgia we use in their Department of Economic Development. They have 12 overseas offices, and normally these offices are the key countries that we do business, whether import or export. Key countries, some are in Asia, some are in Latin America, some are in Europe. So we use them, and they have people that are employed in those countries that do research for us, and also do the marriages between the company here in Georgia and the company in that country. We also use the Department of Commerce. They have over 100 embassies overseas, and they have these commercial attaches, which help also with this, finding partners or suppliers, or the trade shows and intelligence, market intelligence in that country. So we use them as well. So these are the folks, kind of external sales folks that we can combine to help you grow overseas. That we use.
smart. That is smart.
Yeah.
I would love to travel overseas, but with my 45 customers, I wouldn't be around in Georgia.
Yeah, that's right. Is there still, or was there ever, like a cachet for, like, American products overseas? Like, it's always like something comes from Botswana. It's like exotic. Oh, this is fresh from Botswana, grown coffee, or I don't even know what they have. Or
Well,
is there any, like, to get American products? Does it carry any extra weight?
yeah, I mean, the quality, naturally, we're up there in quality. And thankfully, because, when we competed with the Japanese a long time ago with the quality control and all that zoomed up everything, the U.S. quality standards. So we did learn from
Wait,
our
explain that. Explain that. What are you?
Well, remember in the 80s when
it's not for me. You're talking to a vast audience of millions of people.
When the Japanese did the Kaizen, the quality control, and all these kind of programs to elevate their products quality, whether the
This
car
was in the
companies,
70s.
This was
actually after World War II. Yeah,
but anyway,
what was this guy's name? Demings. What was his name?
Yeah, Edward Deming was the guy.
Edwards Demings. Yes, that's right.
But anyway, through that, and with international competition, we all had to up our quality here in the U.S. Which was a great thing. Now U.S. quality is looked as highly regarded. There in their other countries as well. Nationally, there's other countries that do products well, but they look at things that we do well, IT and software, and we're the leaders in that kind of stuff. Wherever we're leaders, they'll a lot of companies overseas are interested in that quality or product, right? So those are one thing.
Do you work with any IT companies? Do you offer any benefit to that?
Yeah, I have a few. 80% or more the tangible products that the manufacturing companies that we work with, but the other 20 could be services, accounting, or professional services, or IT, or software. And if they have a unique product that overseas they don't have, yes, we do work with them. Naturally, they're going to have to modify. They're going to have to do the languages in that particular country, to the software in that country, or and also find qualified partners over there that know about their product or specialize in their industry, right, or in their sector. So, but we can help with that. Yes, absolutely. And we do work with them. Not a lot, but as I mentioned, about 20%, 10 to 20%.
Amazing. This is a whole actually new world for me. So you've been doing this just for a year and a half. What did you do before this?
Well, I did do my private for 4 years. I did private consulting, similar to this, what I'm doing now. So that it gave me a headway into this. But before that, Dan, as you know, I was selling internationally for 4 decades with large multinationals, and I also had started 2 import businesses. So I learned on the import side of things, how to do things on, with the process and the transactions. And I worked for
What products?
Charles. Well, I did on the import side. I did car. The filtration, air and water filtration products, and I also did conveyors and conveyor belts and motors, industrial products for manufacturing purposes. From Italy, it was high quality, fast, high speed conveyors, and the filters were from Germany. And I also worked for the Port of Charleston for 5 years and ran their New York office, dealing with ocean carriers and all the big importers and exporters.
Holy moly. Did you ever do this? Like next to a big carrier, a big one of the, and they blew that horn? It's so loud. You never.
I don't know. Maybe the stevedores do that, but I didn't. Yeah.
Lauren, are you a Seinfeld fan by chance?
Yeah. I enjoy it.
Okay. Every time you say importer, exporter, I think about Art Vandelay.
Yeah.
I think about how
Vandelay
George
is-
always wanted to be Art Vandelay, and he was like, he was architect, and they're like, no, you can't be an architect. Who are you? He's an importer, exporter.
Yeah. It's always
they're making up the story. He can't figure. He wants to get more into the importing. He does the exporting, but he wants to get more into.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's a good point.
Only
That's a good
export.
point. Yeah. Good point.
Do you remember that when you were a kid, you'd be walking to school and a big truck would come by and you'd do this and they'd honk their horn? Or was that just? Yeah.
No, we did that. But
Imagine
when
a
you were
big
kids.
freight liner. Imagine how loud that horn is. Oh my God! That'll blow you down.
I didn't want to know.
How long does it take? How long does it take to get a shipment of something? Or you're sending a shipment out or a shipment in?
Yeah, normally to Europe, from here to Europe, about 3 weeks. From Asia to the U.S., about 4 weeks or so. Ocean, yeah. And air freight, naturally, within a day. I mean, because you can, but it's very expensive because you're paying for urgency and the time, right? But some products like flowers from Colombia to the U.S., you got to fly them in, or fruit, or anything that's perishable, meats, any kind of that kind of stuff. That all goes. A lot of it goes by air. Some goes by reefer container, but some stuff goes by air for the emergency and the the immediacy of the lifespan of the product.
Does it go in just like regular jets, but on the bottom, like it's going like Delta? Will Delta carry flowers from Colombia?
If there's not temperature controlled, yes. But then you have the temperature control type stuff too that goes in specialty, air freight and or containers. That have they call them refrigerated containers that have their unit to keep a controlled temperature. All this 3-4 weeks of voyage is crazy. And
even on the boats they do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they're expensive because you got to pay for that extra cost and the energy costs and things like that. I mean, it's a lot more expensive. Yeah,
Lauren, I think Dan's dancing around the actual question that he wants. He wants to be able to get an affordable can of spotted dick that is export or imported here to the U.S. and without paying the exorbitant air freight.
Well, he's got to go there and take his bag and buy it and come back here.
That's right. It's perishable, Dan. You're going to have to go.
And I remember I had a friend, Joel Haspel, still have a friend, and he married a girl from England. He lives there now in London, and they came over to talk. And I was so excited to tell her about my spotted dick, and she came here and I said, "Look what I have." It was like she was like part of home, and she goes, "Oh, spotted dick is horrible." Like that was her line. She hated spotted dick.
I'm not Googling it. That's all I'm saying.
No, you got to Google it. You got to pull it up there. But that Queen's Pantry that was by the house, it was kind of a cool place. I used to go there and just, get the odd things, but every time there was always like a contingency of Londoners or people there who just wanted, something from home. And when the Queen died, there was a line around the place. Everybody was like just hanging out, commiserating at the Queen's pantry.
Yeah, and there's other retail stores. I'm sure you've seen Polish that bring in Polish goods, or they might bring Eastern European goods, or you go down what do you call it, Buford Highway, you see stuff from Indonesian goods or whatever. I mean, there's specialty type retail stores that bring goods from their particular country.
Laurent, I'm curious. So if obviously what you're doing is based for Georgian business, for Georgia businesses.
Correct.
And there's likely other places in other states that do the same thing. So obviously you're focused on international, but there's all kinds of different things depending on whatever your business needs are. So if someone is seeing this for the first time and they're going, you know what, I need to up my game in certain elements, whether it's marketing or, because they have an SEO problem, or, maybe it's an international thing, or maybe it's just, accounting or finance, or so how are they onboarded when they first contact your office, and they kind of is somebody assigned to them as a one size fits all person, and then they're outsourced to specialists, or how does that whole onboarding process?
That's a good question. Like I mentioned, on the domestic side, we have the 55 consultants, and each one has their region or area of specialty. But normally, if somebody from Savannah, a company based in Savannah calls and our headquarters are here in Athens, and to say, listen, I'd like to talk to somebody, consultant, and this is my specialty, and blah blah blah. Then they'll send that lead to the Savannah office, right? For international, we have a international trade center here in Gwinnett in Lawrenceville, and then they'll send those leads to each one of us. I have the northwest quadrant of Georgia, everything from 400 to 20 on the the northwest side. And then we have another guy that does northeast, and then another fellow that does the south, and our boss or director does a little bit of everything in the Atlanta area. In addition to a couple of us that also do the Atlanta, because there's so much business in the Atlanta metro area. But
dude, you got to get the word out.
Yeah,
you got to get the word out. This is crazy. This is just too good. In fact, because there's three things that make a business successful. You need to know who your customer is and target your customer. You need to be the best in your business, and then you need to know your numbers. And most people just don't know their numbers. they just and because you're too busy doing all the work and all that stuff. So they should just hook up with you. It costs free, and once a month just go through the numbers and say, hey, this is where maybe you can do a little savings, and you like real consulting stuff.
Yeah, they do financial projections. They can look at your profit and loss. There's a lot of things that we can do, not only financially, but as I mentioned, the straight trade stats for export or importing, things of that nature to help you, industry reports, things that can help you educate about your area, and to also, like you said, to really know where your weaknesses are and your strengths, and blah blah blah, right?
Yeah, and blah blah blah. Everybody needs to know their blah blah blah. By the way, it's never blah blah. Blah blah actually is something different than blah blah blah.
I think we should start saying blah blah.
And then there's blah. So blah means like it's boring. Blah blah means somebody's talking too much, and then blah 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 is like, oh yeah, it's all
Others.
that.
Yada yada. Another Seinfeld.
Yeah, that's right. There's a whole thing. So where are you living now, Laurent?
I live near you.
Tell me what's going on. Life, thing, wife, kids, thing. What's happening?
No. I'm single, but don't have kids. I'm helping my mother right now. She's, naturally we're at that age where we're helping our parents.
Yeah.
But we have to do what we have to do with our family.
That's right.
And thank you. At least she's got good health. But there's as you get older, they can't drive and things of that nature. You got to take care of things like that. But it's all good. We all have our good health. Thank you, God. Look at the
Mhm.
people in terrible situation in Israel and Palestine, and we've got to pray for those folks. And
That's right.
unbelievable. I mean, it's just, we're very blessed here. I count my every day as a blessing for us to get up and do what we love.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But and that's the whole thing with sales. You deal with companies, or you deal with countries, or you deal with all this. At the end of the day, you're dealing with people. And so there's always that commonality. But the greatest thing about commerce is that it brings people from disparate places to all join together for the same thing. Everybody's trying to improve their own lives. People who would ordinarily hate each other become partners, trying to improve their own lives. And so we got to keep that going. The most important part of keeping peace in the world is keeping commerce in the world.
And one more thing, you got to keep listening to Dan Jordan's daily posts and also the DJ Live every time. I always do something.
Look at that. Look at that. Best guest ever right there. And they promote the show you're on. Let's go.
BGE. All right. Well, so I totally appreciate you coming on today. This is, by the way, Chris Stone, you wouldn't believe this is his first time.
What?
Is this it? Yes.
What?
He went out and got himself a new microphone and everything.
Got the Yeti Nano. That's an excellent choice. Excellent choice.
Yeti Nano. And he's got all things on his back wall. Which one is the one you're most proud of behind you?
This one, the School of Hard Knocks, which is on my, trying to see where I'm going to point right.
Yeah, it's a little back.
This way. Yeah. Whatever.
Right. That's right.
Anyway, it's a School of Hard Knocks. It's my, my 40 years of getting kicked in the can and learning from your mistakes and your negative things that you've done. But that's how you learn, right? That's how you get better.
That's how you get better. Awesome.
And that's how you sell more, and that's how you become more persistent, and it is, Dan. You know all those things, right? So.
Well, I keep getting better every week for one reason only, and that's Chris Stone at the bottom here. Always just raising the bar. Look at that background that he's got over there with the light and all that stuff. You're awesome. Thank you so much. And for the rest of you, just remember, whatever happens, you need to, when you go to bed tonight, and your own, personal God with yourself, you want to say, was I a plus or a minus today? And if you're plus more often than a minus, everybody will be better. So eat well, live long, and prosper, and go get them today.